Hi, this is John from ILIUMWORKS. Today we're going to install engine guards on our 2019 R1250RT and the auxiliary lights. Okay, first thing we're going to do is remove the plastic body panels. The engine spoiler comes first. There's three screws. They're M5 screws, and use a T25 driver. There's one here, one down here. Okay, you want to keep the screws from each panel separate because they're all different. The engine spoiler uses these 25mm long screws. Okay, now we're going to remove the front side panel using a T25 ratchet. You get in there for clearance. Let me get the ratchet out here. Now you have to be very careful removing this panel. There's two tabs that can be snapped off up on top here if you're not careful. You want to start pulling from the front towards you. There's two nubs that go into rubber grommets, and you want to release them carefully but support this end so you don't pull too far. There goes the first one, and then the second one. And then we're going to just wiggle and loosen these back tabs till they come out. You can be aware of those, they're very delicate. Okay, next we're going to remove the knee cover and air discharge duct. We have to move the seat back a little bit to remove this M5 with the T25 Torx tool. This one screw is 17.5mm long. All the rest are 14.5mm, so keep them separate. Before you pull this panel out, you have to release the wire for the auxiliary power plug. It just slides upward out of the clip there. And if your bike comes equipped with the factory auxiliary lights, you'll see that the mounting bracket utilizes the same mounting point that our engine guards do, so that has to be replaced. We have our part number 30-250BL, which will accommodate our engine guards and the factory auxiliary lights. Okay, to start with, we're going to use a T30 Torx driver to remove the M6 screw here. Using a small screwdriver, after we release this, we're going to unclip the connector so we can pull the wire out of the light housing. Okay, using some side cutters, we're going to snip the zip tie and free up the wire. We're going to use the T40 Torx tool to remove the mounting bracket, the factory mounting bracket for the auxiliary lights. removing the bodywork on the left side of the bike is the same as the right side. So now we're going to start with the actual installation of the engine guards. Here I've got the left side. I'm going to take the nut and the washer off. I'm going to leave the screw in the bracket there, makes it a little easier to find the hole. Put the bung in the hole and slide the bolt through the hole in the frame. Put the washer and the nut on the back side, just get it started a few turns. Leave everything here loose. Okay, now that we have the top of the engine guard loosely installed, we're going to go to the bottom. We've got the 22 millimeter spacer, and we've got a M10 by 40 millimeter Allen screw. We're going to put some blue Loctite, medium strength Loctite on the threads. Spacer goes between the engine guard and the engine case. Put the bolt through. Then using a 10 millimeter Allen, we'll get the thread started in there. And we're just going to leave everything loose. Next step here is to install a crossbar. We're going to feed it through and then back into the tube here. And the M6 screw with the saddle washer. Get it started, but leave everything loose. Okay, now we're going to install the right side engine guard bar. And got to get the crossbar and the bung started at the same time. Okay, put the M8 screw into the frame, and a washer and nut on the back side loosely. Okay, now we're going to put the spacer and the M10 by 40 Allen screw in the bottom. Little blue Loctite on the threads. Line it up with the hole. Started here. Okay. Run the screw in, but don't tighten it all the way. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is put the M6 and saddle washer into our crossbar. Run that in just finger tight. Then we're going to go back and properly tighten all of the screws in this assembly. Okay, we're going to tighten that up and then torque to 17 foot-pounds or 22 Newton meters. The bolt and the bung, you don't need to torque it, just tighten it. M10 on the bottom goes to 33 foot-pounds or 44 Newton meters. M6 on the crossbar. Go over and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now that we've got the engine guard is on and secured, we want to start replacing the plastic. However, putting the plastic on is not completely straightforward on this one. The radiator discharge duct and the knee cover won't go on the way they came off in one piece. So what we're going to do is remove these two screws and loosen the discharge duct, put it on, and then put the knee cover back on and reassemble everything in place. Okay, to remove the radiator discharge duct, we're going to take out these two M5 screws with the T25 driver. And we'll see that there is a tab with a catch on it on the back side here, so we have to release that so we can pull this part out. First thing we're going to do is position the radiator discharge and reconnect the auxiliary power wire into the clip, and that kind of holds the discharge tube into place. Then we offer up the knee cover to make sure that this tab goes under the bodywork here. Okay, now that you have all the pieces in place here, we have to make sure that the tab is snapped back into the housing on the back side here, and you have to do this by feel. You can feel it when it goes into the slot. We'll put the screws in, securing the discharge duct to the knee cover. Now we'll secure the knee cover back to the rest of the bodywork. And we remember that the one 17mm screw goes in the back here under where the seat is. Now to aid the reassembly of the front panel here, I'm going to put a little dab of grease on each one of these nubs and just a little bit on the rubber grommets that they go into. Make everything go together a little smoother. Okay, with the front, the panel angled out, we're going to start the tabs up on the top here. Then we have to align the top nub till it finds its grommet. And the bottom nub. You can feel they both popped in there nice and easily. We're going to replace the two M5 screws in the front. Okay, the last piece to put on is the engine spoiler, and this one uses the 25mm long screws.
It's crazy, yeah. We're ready.
Okay, now we're going to install the factory auxiliary lights with our mounting bracket that is compatible with our engine guard system. We're going to use the stock screw, just a washer on one side, bracket, and then one more washer on this side. Now we want to position the light on the bar here. First thing we're going to do is take off the back half of the clamp. We're going to snug up these screws so we have a little bit of friction so we can hold things in place while we're determining what our final mounting orientation is going to be. Okay, so we want the light pointing straight ahead and the face of the light to be vertical. To get pretty tight. Now we're going to get the screws started on the clamp. And the last thing we do is plug in the connector. And put a zip tie on there to secure the cable.